do a hair flip, looking straight down at the new girl in town, fresh from the heights, and I make it feel nice. Just 'cause of me, I can do anything.
Hi guys, joining in on Shift You Podcast. I'm Lasagna Lopez, aka Doc. Man, today we have a special guest. He's coming here celebrating with us, talking about mind shifting and transformation. We have TR, Teddy Riley. I'm sure there's nobody on the face of the planet that does not know who he is. Grammy Award winner, nominated, Hollywood Walk of Fame star, and I was there for his ceremony, by the way. The list goes on. Genre creator, New Jack Swing. Welcome, brother.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh. So the first thing I want to ask you about, like I said, Shift You is all about transformation and mind shifting. So let the audience know one or several of the big shifts that you've had throughout your life.
Well, first of all, I've been in the business 38 years.
Okay.
And I've had many shift changes. My first was moving out of New York.
Okay.
And we can pretty much attest to the same thing. It really changed my life because, going from somewhere like New York to a place that, there was no music scene.
Mm-hmm.
There were clubs, but not like when we got there, it was like many clubs.
Okay.
So when I got to Virginia, I went there long time and long before I decided to move there. And that's the reason why I decided to move there, because every time I went there, it was pretty pleasant,
Okay.
And I didn't think too much about, the racism and stuff that was going on there.
Mm-hmm.
And when we last went there, I went with my street guys. Like, if you've seen the movie Paid in Full, Alpo and Rich Porter and those guys, I went to school with those guys.
Wow.
So they chartered a bus and we all went to Virginia. Everybody goes to Virginia, the Busch Gardens and Virginia Beach, and we have a lot of fun. And I said to my first fiance, Donna, that if I went anywhere and I wanted to move anywhere, I would love to move here. And she was like, "Oh yeah, you like it here?" I was like, "Yeah."
Just because it was
I
a
like
slower
it.
pace?
No, because it was in the middle of South Carolina, which is where my family is from.
Okay.
And my mom was actually living
there.
I bought our house there, and New York, where my other family is.
Okay.
So I said, I want to be in the middle. So if I needed to go to South Carolina, that's only 9 hours.
Mm-hmm.
If I needed to go to New York, we drive 6 hours back and forth.
Okay.
So that was the first shift. And that shift was a major shift because I started music there. There was nothing there but, what's his name? Jimmy Buffett.
Really?
Country singer, yeah. And
so you came and just flipped the script for Virginia.
I came and opened up everything. They opened up everything. And I didn't know the value of it. I didn't know how I really opened up a city. Like when I moved there was no Chick-fil-A. There was no,
Are you serious?
shopping centers, none of that. There was no Nobles, Barnes and Nobles. And when we moved there, my attorney at the time, who actually found my studio, and he found my house, he found everything. He's just like, you are really doing something special for the city.
You never told me this story.
Yeah, I never told anybody
this
story.
That's wow.
But this is a story that is actually going into my biopic because it was really a major change and a major shift in my life because I discovered Pharrell there.
Right.
Rodney Jerkins, and a lot of producers that came under me and writers. We produced the Blackstreet album there, Rum Shaker, and all of the major records. So that's a major shift.
Started during that time.
Yeah.
So not when you were in New York.
No, this was 1991.
Oh, wow.
And at the same time, another shift happened.
Okay.
Right behind that. As I was moving there, I didn't have time to move anything there. I hired people to move everything. I hired people to build a studio because I had to go work with Michael Jackson.
I know.
So that's all happening at the same time. I went to Virginia and said, no, you got to go to California. So I've seen my house for maybe a week,
And then you had to go
I
over
had to
and work
go.
with Mike.
And I seen the studio. I bought a studio for like the cheapest I've ever bought any building,
Mm-hmm.
and that studio basically made history.
That's crazy.
And then when I left, they burned it down.
Why?
That's another crazy thing. But there was a guy there who actually he's a huge, high-profile con artist. And at that time, I was having financial problems. This was around 1999.
Okay.
So I said, you know what? I'm going to go to California. I went to California, but I met this guy. His name is Troy Titus. And if anybody wants to, they can look him up. You can look up, what's the American Greed.
Oh my gosh.
I was on American Greed because this guy, he said he could help me with leveraging my house so I can pull money out.
So
You know
he
what I'm saying?
right.
So what he did was, behind my back, he took the house and created multiple deeds on one
On one
house,
single solitary
yeah,
house.
and my studio. So I lost my studio. You know, I always say, you know, everybody, when you do an interview, everybody want to always hear the good,
Right.
but there's also bad that comes with good.
Right.
So this was the bad, and you know, I was very strong. I was very strong, and I protected my family and my kids
Right.
from not hearing it in their schools. So
I never heard of any of
yeah,
this.
nobody.
So this is going to
'Cause it
be in
was
your
really
be in
quiet.
your biopic. So you had a lot of shifts that happened basically
Yeah.
almost at the same time.
Mhm.
And you feel like it was during that time your music career just really took off at that point.
Yeah, but I didn't know that, and at that same time, um, I wasn't getting royalties. Do you know all the royalties from that year
Mm-hmm.
all the way up to now? I haven't earned, and I'm just seeing it.
Really?
Yep, and Jay Soul he helped me.
Wow.
They found 40 unclaimed checks of mine.
That you had no idea about. See, to me, that's important. When you talk about people in the creative space,
Mhm.
that you have to shift your mind now, right, towards the
course.
business side, because you have a lot of people that's trying to steal you guys.
Mhm.
Reminds me a lot of corporate medicine.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and I get it. So how do you deal with that? Do you have like business advisors?
Yeah.
Do you have your label? I mean, I'm
I
assuming.
do. I have business advisors. I am the label. So
Okay.
at that same time, I didn't know how much money, and I filed bankruptcy.
And you
Right?
have money out there.
I had money, and I didn't know, and I almost got,
Mm-hmm.
they were like, "Yo, he got money. What is he doing?"
Right.
But I didn't know, and that's when I got with an attorney that helped me
Mm-hmm.
just find and figure out my whole situation. Still, I
Right.
didn't know about these checks that turned up
Right.
8 months ago.
So one of the big things with Shift You, I'm focusing on legacy building,
Mhm.
and part of it is financial literacy.
Mhm.
So I have a couple folks that'll be coming on just talking about that, because you're on the road,
Mhm.
you're making songs, so you need to have someone you can trust that kind of oversees that. So since then, I'm sure you've changed the way you do business,
course.
right? You had to shift in
Yeah.
that way.
I mean, that's another shift. What I didn't know back then, I
Mm-hmm.
know now,
Right.
and she was really helping me, and it's taken me even to a higher level of life.
Mhm.
I'm a diplomat now,
Wow.
so, and I just became a diplomat last week.
Wow.
So,
So for like the younger artists that are coming out,
mhm.
that's basically they're just focusing on getting on, right? Having hits.
Focus on getting on, making money, and not thinking about the business like me.
So that's what I was gonna say. What advice would you give them as far as them shifting and thinking differently when it comes to their career?
I would say know your music. I mean, know your business as well as you know your music,
Right.
and you'll be all right.
Right.
So, of course, I came in the game late, but I always say the Most High is just blessing me, and it just took me to another level. Listen, I'm in all the way in Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
and dealing with so much, and then my mom, being she's here, but she's dealing with cancer and stuff like that.
So
So
sorry
it's a lot that I have to
that you have to
endure,
juggle.
and a lot I have to do, but it's all being fixed,
Yeah.
and I'm pleased now. Like I wasn't gonna go on the road after, which is another shift versus,
Right.
after versus I retired, and I went to Africa,
That's
and
right.
I ain't come back for a year and a half. I was
It
gonna
was almost
stay,
2 years.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
But you know, versus you tore it up. You know.
yeah, thank you,
I was
but
on my social media page, like, watch my brother, like he gonna rip
it's
it.
dope. I had so much support, and then the moment the war heard me going to Africa, Africa just was all behind me, and we had 8 billion instances, meaning
Really.
people going in, coming out, going in, coming out, and we broke the internet. So
When you talking when you did verses
versus,
with
yeah,
Babyface, right?
yep,
You did
we're the
break it.
only ones that broke the
Was it
internet.
8 million?
I'm sorry, 8 billion, 8 billion instances,
Wow.
meaning people coming in. It's
And
the traffic.
right, going back
So
and forth.
we did the highest of
That's
all
crazy.
of the contestants.
That's crazy.
So yeah.
So of all the artists that you've worked for, you may want to plead the fifth. Who's been your favorite and easiest to work with?
You already know Michael Jackson.
I know.
Michael Jackson is number one. After that, it would be the Winans.
Really?
Mhm.
I didn't know you did. What did you do with them? What
I,
songs?
I did It's Time to Make That Change. A Friend of Mine and Yours.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
You ain't see the video?
No, I did not. I don't
I
recall.
had on a Barney suit. We stopped. We all had on Barney
We
suits.
ain't
We
gonna
had
say
on
nothing
purple.
about that. But no, I did not know that you worked with them.
Yeah, I work with the Winans. I work with Bobby Jones. I've done a lot of gospel stuff. In fact, I have a gospel record out right now with the War Group.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, you gotta let me hear that.
Yeah,
When did you
it's
put it out?
really nice. I mean, it's actually on my page. You can look.
It's on your
but
Facebook
I'll send it to you.
page. Okay.
And then I have a record coming with Hezekiah. So I kind of just split myself
Between
I'll do
R&B.
gospel, I'll do R&B, and I'll do classic, and wherever I
But
fit
that's
in.
what happens to the creative geniuses. You can do anything. So the question that I wanted to ask you was, so I already know you're like a perfectionist with your music because I know you so well. When did your mind go from I'm gonna make hits to I'm gonna make a genre? You have a whole
Well,
genre, New Jack Swing.
I think the hits came from making the genre.
Really?
Nothing came first. It was all impact at the same time. And I didn't name my music New Jack Swing. I have
Okay.
to give the credit to Barry Michael Cooper, who gave me the name, and he said, "You run with this." This was at the same time because he's the same guy that wrote New Jack City.
So this is all during Virginia
Same
and
time.
going. So
No,
everything
New
just.
York, not Virginia.
Okay, this was in New York.
New York.
Okay.
New Jack Swing. A lot of people don't know New Jack Swing started in 1982.
Really?
Yeah, I was in school, same school as Dougie Fresh. I did the show.
Well, I knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I did Spoonie G, the WAP Dance. I did that record with B-Facts. And a lot of records I did for like how these kids are making music for their homies and all that. I've been doing that back in 1982.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So what would you say? Because you said you retired and then you came back. So what are your plans now? You just kind of rolling with the waves, whatever comes up. Do you have?
No, I'm rolling with my spirit.
Okay.
If it feels good, I'll try it.
Then you'll do it.
Everybody didn't think I was going to get back with a guy, and I just said, no, what made me, matter of fact, this is another shift. What made me, because the Africa trip and going to Africa
right
is another shift. But this shift here, when I felt like the Most High was saying, come back home and make it right with everybody.
Okay.
I didn't know what it mean, but that's what my spirit was telling me. And I just went to Aaron and Damien and everybody that, even Chauncey.
Really?
Yeah, I spoke to him and I just wanted to, how you say,
Kind of
get
clear.
past everything.
Right.
And,
But that
we
comes
don't have
with
to work together.
right. But that just
But,
comes with spiritual maturity.
yeah,
Right. And when you have personal peace and you have good
of
intentions,
course.
right? When
All
you
the
can
time,
forgive.
I mean, they all know that. But,
Hmm.
of course, people do what they do. You blame yourself
Yeah.
for going for what they do to you.
So I'm
So,
learning that right now to not, because the only thing we can control, right, is our response.
it's
It
our
control,
yeah.
right. And so people are going to, and I feel like when you're anointed, not to
Mhm.
get like all spiritual, then those things are going to come to you,
That's right.
right? To
Mhm.
kind of impede or stop your appointment, whatever your appointment
Yes.
is. And I've always been a strong fan of yours. Music is so crazy because I'm a doctor and my husband is in music, which
Mhm.
is how I met you because you guys work together. How much music really influenced us as individuals in our culture.
Mhm.
So I want to know, what is your thought process currently? Because what you guys have done, for music with R&B, that's not happening a lot right now.
Yeah, I was on the radio talking about that the other day. I feel music is coming right back around. Music is nothing but a recycle.
Okay.
It's a recycle engine. You know, of course, when we came out, we were doing what they were doing back in the 70s.
Right.
And we just kind of reincarnated, repackage it, put it
So
back
you
out.
think it's coming back
Of
around?
course. Because you hear like, and you find some of the new artists out there, rappers, singers, doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
They are either needle dropping our songs or
Right.
being influenced and inspired by our music from the 80s and the 90s.
That is extremely
So it's nothing
refreshing.
but a recycle. I mean, if you
Mhm.
hear, as example, Bruno Mars,
Right.
he went back to the 80s
Yes.
and the 70s with what's that, the records that he's done lately.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure he's now in the studio searching for that next, but from back then.
Right.
So, and that's what I do as well. My music just didn't come from me. It came from the influences of George Clinton,
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Guitar Watson, Roger Troutman, and Stevie Wonder.
Wow.
And gospel wise, James Cleveland,
Really?
Mighty Clouds of Joy,
Okay.
and
I definitely know Mighty Clouds of Joy from my mom.
and John Peake.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, he's from my hometown, so it's
Even till this day, he's one of my
he
favorites.
is. He's mine too. He's always been.
Mm-hmm.
And Fred Hammond.
Another favorite.
Yeah.
Marvin Sapp.
I grew up in church, and I started playing keyboard, piano in church at the age of 9.
Mm-hmm.
So I had no choice but to hear and listen to them in order for me to learn how to play in church.
So are you self-taught?
Yeah.
That's great. So you were just gifted, born with that. Jayla is the same way.
Mhm.
She's and Jayla is my daughter, his niece. She's teaching herself piano,
Yep.
the guitar, and oddly enough, the ukulele. But she's teaching herself
Incredible.
just by ear. So I'm always amazed with the creativity. What is it? What things, I guess, stimulate your creativity?
It could be anything. It could be that camera, and I can actually write music to that camera.
Really?
Yeah. Or the light.
So I've heard conversations between you and Jason or J-Soul, and like if you do a beat and he's writing, and then I'll hear you say, "I wanted to be like a do 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 do," and then Jason's like, "Oh, I got you," and I'm like, "But y'all didn't say anything."
We didn't, but we speak music.
You speak music.
It's a language. It's a
Yeah.
universal language as well. We
Mhm.
always, tell people it doesn't matter what you do in music. If you got the rhythm and you got that spirit, it's always going to come out right.
It'll come out right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think as I get older, because I was so focused on science and math, I just realized how much influence art has on so it's not just simply that song takes me back to a certain memory.
Mhm.
Like it's deeper than that.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, our godfather, the black godfather, Clarence
Right.
Avant, the one thing he told me that will never leave me, and this was recently, maybe a year ago, and I sat down with him at breakfast, and he said, "I'm proud of you."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Why?" He said, "Because you think numbers now. You used
Mm.
to think music." I said, "I still think music." He said, "But you're thinking numbers
And what did he mean
because you're
by
still
that?
here.
And what did he mean by that?
Because I'm still here.
Oh,
A
just
lot
the
of people don't
longevity.
last. And the only reason why they don't last is because they don't use the both. And at the same time, they don't stay true to themselves.
So they
I've been
just
this way.
ride the wave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've known me a long time. I've been the same way. And I don't,
Right.
what am I changing for?
But you can say that because you created a genre. Like everybody has created a genre. Like, what do you mentor any of the younger artists right now?
Mhm.
You do?
I've worked with a lot of artists mentoring. Um, you've seen them. They perform on my stage. Ro James, Tiana
Mhm.
Taylor, who's from Harlem, and what's his name, Major, and just people who would just call and say, I'll find an artist or see an artist who will hit me on a DM.
Mm-hmm.
They would never think I would hit them back. And when I
Really?
hit them back, they're like, and they'll post it.
Yeah. I don't think most people know how down to earth you are. Like when I first met you, I'm like,
I don't want them to know.
you don't?
I want them to find out.
Makes sense. I can
Let 'em
respect
find out.
that. I can respect that.
Yeah,
Because you
if they
know how you know how I
sometimes-
am. Like I
yeah.
don't like to be around. I
Yeah.
don't like to be around, but that's just not my thing. But when I met you, I'm like, he is mad
Yeah.
cool.
But if you let people know that, then that's when they take advantage. Just like my
Makes
old
sense.
group members
Would do this
of
to
the
you.
group that I don't want to,
Okay. Well, we won't talk about
Yeah.
it. We'll talk about the legacy
But,
tour. How
I'm-
about that?
yeah.
The legacy tour.
I'm
Excited
happy.
about that?
I'm very happy about it. I'm happy that my brothers, we all are kind of just getting acclimated back with each other because
Okay.
me and Damien, we've been around each other because we bowl,
Right.
and that's our therapy.
And he's funny as hell. And there's no
Yeah.
way you cannot want to hang around Damien. He is hilarious.
It's crazy.
Right.
Nah.
You're right.
But he knows
But in
it.
a good way.
Yeah.
Good. So I know you always hang around Keith, and then I see you guys added Tank to your
Yeah,
lineup.
Tank
So
is on the
Tank, New
lineup.
Edition, and then you guys and Keith Sweat. Am I
Yes.
missing somebody?
No, you're not. You're
Okay.
not.
And then when does it start?
It starts actually on the 9th, which is in a few days.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That is so dope that you took time to talk to me. I'm so excited.
No, come on, you're my
You,
sister.
you just
Anything you
just
need.
finished rehearsing.
I have to say this. My sister here, she took me in, because I don't like staying at hotels.
He does not.
And I said to Jay, and Jay was like, "Man, come, I got the room in the basement." I said, "You sure? You sure sis gonna be all right with that?"
Of course.
And when he said, "Yeah," I said, "Man, okay."
And
we
he is
good."
very particular.
Yeah, he
So-
is.
No, you.
No,
You're
I am.
Yeah,
I am.
Yeah.
But he is as well.
Yeah.
And I know he just doesn't let anybody.
Oh no, definitely not.
Because that happened before. And I was like,
We're
"Man,
not gonna
I'll
talk
never
about
do
that. Right. No, we're not gonna talk about
Yeah.
that.
But that's how I am, it's just certain things that I do, and I walk a different way. So,
I just want people to know you. I know what you're saying, but I just want people to know you beyond your accolades and your creativity blows my mind. You're not normal. You know that, right?
Musha.
You're not normal. How creative you are. I feel like my husband is not normal, and I admire creative people so much. Like I'm such a concrete thing. I'm just like, where do you pull it from? That's why I asked you.
Right.
What stimulates your creativity? Well, you're always like in the studio though, like
Mhm.
always
I mean,
creating.
For creative people, which we all are, whether you know it
My
or not.
friend Nikita just told me that.
Yeah, we all are creative. We can pull anything out. And it's basically the molecules in our DNA.
Mm-hmm.
As being melanated people,
Right.
we have ideas that will last beyond our existence.
Right.
And if it doesn't happen when we're here, it's going to happen without children.
Right. I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
But when did you first realize, though, that this was a path for you, that you wanted to do music?
3 years old. Really? I got picked up on the stage by Gladys Knight at the age of 5.
Wow.
And that's what made me really that was a confirmation for me. When I got back home, my aunt, who named me Teddy, because she didn't like the word, she didn't like the name Theodore. She's like, no, he's going to be Teddy to me.
Right.
So she asked me, that was a day I was sick, and I just, how kids fake it to make it.
Right.
Well, I faked it, and I made it to the Apollo, and I'm in the front with the lady who's always at the Apollo, dancing in the front, doing her thing, and
right.
I'm sitting next to her, and I'm trying to outdance her at 5.
Really?
And Gladys noticed me, and she said, "Come up here, boy."
So nobody in your family knew her. She just saw you at the Apollo.
Yeah. And she was singing, holding me, singing Neither One of Us.
Wow.
And that was it.
Wow. And then you just took it from there.
Yeah.
So how did you determine the instruments that you were gonna? Do you only play the keyboard?
No, I play different instruments, and I can pick up anything. But what made me figure out what instrument, I started with guitar, and I hated it. And then I got fascinated by drums.
Okay.
Because kids always want to hit on something. We all bang on the table.
Right.
And then when my father, he just bought me every instrument, like, try this. And he would come on with an instrument.
Wow.
And he came on with a trumpet. I tried that, but I said, no,
that wasn't your thing.
It's not sexy for the lips. But back then, it wasn't the word sexy. I just said, I'm not good. It's not going to be good for the girls. And talking to girls with my lip poked out.
Right.
Because a lot of trumpet players, when they talk to people, it's like,
are you serious? You're like, I never noticed that.
They lift me out. I have an uncle who played trumpet, and he talks to it
unintentionally. Like, that's just what you're like, dude.
Don't want to be that. You know how kids, when they grow up, they want to be hip,
Yeah.
And certain things I just didn't. I didn't want to.
You didn't want to do that.
I didn't want to play with the kids. I would be at the fence, and the back of my elementary school was the backstage of the Apollo.
Really?
So I would be in that fence just looking at who's coming out. Because I knew it was stars coming out.
So when was it? Like, was it 4 or 5 years ago when you performed at the Apollo and Jay was there? Because we have a picture, like somebody took a picture backstage with you and Jay. So Keith Sweat.
Yeah. That was 2018, December 9th.
Okay. How many times have you performed at the Apollo?
Oh, God, I can't
It's been
count.
a lot.
Yeah.
So the first time was like a full circle moment for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So crazy that performance. I got sick that performance. I went to the hospital after that performance.
I remember that. But you were dehydrated.
Yes.
You was an overworker.
Everything just stiff. I was like, I couldn't even bend my fingers.
Oh my gosh. So now you know better.
Yeah, of course.
You get IV hydration therapy.
Yeah, I get a drip every 2 weeks.
Really?
And if I feel dehydrated, come on over. I need a drip.
So I need to get an IV hydration business.
Huh? Yeah, you do.
That's what I need.
I thought you was doing that.
Well, I mean, I could just travel and with you guys on tour.
Yeah. Or you can do a remote. Because a lot of these companies are remote.
And whenever the artists have
and you can have like put together a network, which is not hard.
Right.
Have people in different cities to take care of your client. And then they get a PC.
Of it.
Yeah.
There you have it. Mind shift. Put down a knife and hook up an IV.
And it's making a lot of money.
Yeah.
As much as me and Keith Sweat, we get it. It's like our vitamin twice a month.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good. So I guess one of the things I want to ask you is, so we talked about some of the advice you would give some of the younger artists, right? And I know you said it's like a full circle, but what do you think your contribution is going to be towards catapulting that transformation or that change back to the good old R&B that we're used to?
Oh, he's doing it on his own.
Okay. It's not much you have to do.
No, I mean, I can continue making music, which we're doing now. And sure, I've been doing records with some of these young artists like Trey Songz, Lloyd, and new artists. And my whole thing is pushing that agenda.
Right.
And that's what we're doing. A lot of people are doing it.
Right. Do you think people are becoming more aware of, let's see, I'm a conspiracy theorist, so I don't want to say it and get myself in trouble. Because I know that music and entertainment is used to kind of plant seeds in our culture and to kind of control our culture. Do you agree with that?
Of course, big time.
Right. And so the artist gets enticed with money and things and, not the fault of their own because they want to make it, but then it's created so many negative things in our culture. So that's why I keep asking about turning around.
Well, I can only base it on the past. When I was making music, it really influenced a lot of people, college students, high school students, growing up, and lovers. And I've probably made maybe one money song, and that's Just Got Paid.
Didn't think about that.
Yeah. But it wasn't like I was perpetrating what I have.
Right.
I just said,
but it was just,
paid,
right. And then all the songs were like fun and,
Conversation pieces. So everything you hear in the song is actually what we did. So go to a party, you see girls, you dance, you want to dance.
Right.
You just got paid and buying a girl a drink.
Right.
You're doing everything with your paycheck.
Right.
So it was positive.
Very positive.
And reason why I'm positive, because, I do have a mother that I respect, and when she said, "Oh, I like that," then okay, I think
then that's what you,
yeah. Even with Rum Shaker, she loved that song. I'm like, why you love the song? I say, it's the beat.
It's the beat. That's what it is.
So most people like either the beat,
right,
or they like the lyrics.
The lyrics. And it's so crazy because I was talking to the girls the other day, and I'm like, you guys don't have like a Guy or a Blackstreet or a New, they don't have it in their generation. So they know you guys' song because that's, all your songs because we play it, but they really don't have that.
We don't have no groups really out there.
At all.
Yep.
You need to work on getting one. You need to work on making one for them, for their age group, their generation.
That's what we're going to do. I'm trying to work my way back to the East Coast.
Okay.
But not here.
Why? Not Virginia.
No, not Virginia. I was thinking of Houston. No, not Houston, but Texas. I don't want to say we're in Texas, but I was thinking of Texas.
Really?
Yeah.
Why not Atlanta? Okay.
That's it. Besides you and my brother and Keith and my family here, I don't too much care for it. I want to be somewhere where I can build another business and have my studios and I'm in tech and also IT. I'm an IT and I'm into the future.
I know.
Of course, I've been in the future since I've made the song. So I always think of things that is futuristic. Like this show that we're doing, people are going to enjoy it because we're bringing the future.
When is it going to come out?
No, the show.
Oh, you talking about your show?
I'm just
I can't wait to see it.
Just a little bit, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's a great. This is the first time we ever did 35-minute show.
You condensed it down.
We've gotten everything in there that we know people want to hear.
Right. So, I was in the other room listening. I'm like, okay.
But it was like that. You don't realize that the show is over.
Right.
When you got started.
Because it goes by so quickly.
So fast.
Yeah. So, South Carolina, what do you have? 31 cities?
Oh, God.
It's like 30. I think they told me like 31 cities.
Yeah.
But you
From
come back
the
here
9th till the end of April.
Okay. That's a lot.
Yes.
Is that usually how many cities you guys around that?
No, the one before that, the 90s.
Yeah.
We did 40 something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you're used to it. So.
Well, you got to condition yourself for it. So I've been working out every day. Lost 11 pounds. It's like training for a fight.
So you do. So tell me your regimen before going on tour. Like, do you work out rigorously? I guess it makes sense for your endurance on stage.
I do treadmill. I do weights, but I do more of the treadmill because you're on the treadmill and you're running.
With the
I'm
endurance.
running as long as I'm going to be on stage or
Mhm.
longer. So I'll
Mhm.
do an hour. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if you notice, I'm not tired because I
You're
still
used
take
to
my
working out.
shakes and everything every day. I do my workout every day. I'll do the treadmill before I go to rehearsal.
Right.
So tomorrow I'm gonna do a double time. I'll do a treadmill in the morning and treadmill in the evening, just to
Right.
keep stamina and
Your endurance. So it flows easily for you.
Mhm.
Wow. I'm trying to think of some other questions to ask you because I'm trying to bring it back into because what I'm trying to do is see the parallel between like this science math person, which is me, the concrete mind, and
Yep.
then the creative person, because irrespective of which one you are or your career, we do have commonalities, right? And so that's why I'm trying to pick your brain just to see.
Well, let me say this. You say science. Music is science.
That's true.
And with music comes math.
True.
So it's no different. You're just doing something
So it's not
different,
one
but
without the
you're
other.
working with instruments.
Right.
We are too. So it's really, there's definitely a lot of commonality in music and being, you could be a person that's a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? He still have instruments.
Right.
Whether you know it or not, his pen is an instrument. And his pen makes him money.
Right.
Your tools make you money.
Right.
Our tools make us money.
Right. You
So,
just make a lot more.
Yeah. No.
Your tools just make a lot more than us, but that's all right. That's
Well,
good.
some. Because to the music business today, with the streaming, you're not making nothing.
Really?
It's great that, you know how in basketball, the basketball players today get paid more than the basketball players in the
Right.
past.
Right.
Doctors today get paid more than doctors in the past.
I don't know about that.
I bet you.
I
You
don't
got to
know
look
about
at the stats.
So
now.
here's the thing, right? So I'm in court. So this big thing for me with the podcast and trying to dip on the creative side, medicine has changed so much because now it's corporate.
Oh, okay.
Right. So
Same thing with music.
That's
now
true.
It's corporate.
Right. So that's why I wanted to see the parallels, because the focus now to me, especially with COVID in 2020, is ownership.
That's right.
So that's what I was going to ask you. Like when you talk to your kids or when you mentor anybody, when you talk about legacy building and mind shifting, I know we talked about like financial literacy, but the biggest thing is like ownership and having your own. And that's what I tell the girls all the time.
Well, I can say this. Before, I mean, you can own all the things you want, but if you don't have the proper things in place, it's not going to last you long.
And what proper things would you?
The proper things you need to have in place is build trust. Trust after trust after trust. And that protects you, your assets, your businesses, and everything. Because if you don't do that, you'll never be able to keep them. I don't care how long you have them. It's going to go away. Same thing with your home. Let me put it in layman terms. You do not own your property.
Okay.
And you do not own your house.
And tell me why you're saying that.
And I'll say that because anything that's done with the corporation, it belongs to them. It's like if you come to my studio and you ain't pay no money,
right?
Who owns the music?
Who owns it?
Me. You came to my studio, you didn't pay the bill, I own your property.
You know what? Oh, I get what you're saying with the mortgage company.
Saying.
Okay. I had to catch up a little bit. Okay. I get what you're saying.
Whether you buy a house or whatever you do, have the trust. So the trust on the house, it protects your asset.
Right.
They can never take it from you.
Because it's in the trust.
Yeah. Banks are double dippers.
Right.
So,
see, so the bit like it seems like what probably almost any career, what we're missing is the business knowledge.
And I've learned more than the business because the stuff that I needed to know is small business. The
Right.
stuff that you really need to know is generational wealth.
Right. And that's what I
Yes.
mean by like legacy building.
Yeah.
So just ownership. So I know like because I had a couple of cousins that played in the NFL, he told us that when they first get drafted, that they sit down with a financial advisor, like you in the music industry.
Which is not good.
So you think they're not telling them good advice?
I know so.
And they don't have anything
like
like that with music, like when you get
No.
join the label or anything like that. So this is just stuff that you're just learning as you go along.
Yeah.
It's the same for us too.
I'm not learning from anyone but the facts, where you can go online and you can find out facts about everything.
Mm-hmm.
Your accountant is your snitch.
Okay.
I'm going to take you down the lines. Accountant is a snitch.
Okay.
Your attorney, which is a French name, I turn to tell the truth.
Okay.
So any moment they can turn you in, or any moment they can reverse your whole career and have your money in their pockets.
And you've worked so hard for it, man.
Yeah. Same thing with doctors.
I know. That's what
Doctors-
I'm telling you.
yeah.
I'm trying to see the parallel.
Doctors don't tell the truth. They only tell
Well,
you.
wait a minute.
No,
wait
See,
a
now I'm talking
minute.
about the doctors that want you to take the medicine.
Oh yes, we were just talking about that. We were
Okay.
talking
So
I
don't
am a
wanna go deep
conspiracy
into it,
theorist.
because if I go deep into it, we're gonna be here.
for a long time, but no.
So yeah.
I'm with you on that. I'm
so
like a
most
conspiracy
of these
theorist.
people have club cards.
Really?
You don't have a license. You have a club card. Because United States
Mm-hmm.
will never give a lawyer a license. They have a bar card.
Right.
A bar card is just like you going to the Soho House
Mm-hmm.
or you going to the gathering room.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't pay your bill or you don't pay your respects,
Mm-hmm.
the card gets taken from you.
Right.
It's the bottom line. Same thing with lawyers. That's why I don't never use a lawyer. I use a counsel.
Really?
I don't use an accountant. I use a counsel.
Okay.
One that can counsel you and not control your money.
Okay.
That's what I've learned.
So how
from
do
the
people
past.
see? Look, Mind Shift. We didn't know that because we were taught to have an attorney in your back pocket, right? To have a financial advisor, so you don't use.
It's better to have a nurse than to have a doctor, right? Because they're gonna tell
No.
you everything. Now I'll tell you. No, I'm saying to tell you
What's going
on with you.
Right.
Same thing. It's better to have a paralegal than to have a lawyer,
Mm,
because the paralegal's doing everything.
right.
They doing all.
Now listen. So now I'm gonna
the-
speak.
Mhm.
I'm gonna speak up for myself. All the doctors out there. So I can agree with you with some people.
No,
So
I
it
know
depends.
about you.
Right.
See, there's certain doctors
Right.
that take it serious and take
Right.
it
That
serious
has
for the
a
people.
moral compass.
Yeah.
See, that's the issue. Is
Same thing with the record business.
right. It's having a moral
it's
compass.
a system.
Right.
It's a system, and I'm just so happy to say I'm not a part of the system anymore.
You know what's crazy? I mean, dang, it's so crazy how we're parallel. I always tell Jay that we're so parallel because I feel I am going to make a transition. Like
Mhm.
I've made that decision, but it almost felt like I was in the Matrix.
We
And
are.
then once you step out of it, you're like,
Look at this, and you
Yes.
do it.
right.
You could say, listen, you would just, like, if you have an argument, you give up. You let them have it.
Right.
You already won.
No, I feel you.
You
yes.
already won. Once you make that transition,
And it's just recognizing
you won
it first.
in life, and that's what I feel like now. That's why I was going to retire, because I've won. I
Mhm.
got out of the system and just got off the grid,
Right.
and it's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Right.
And now,
But now when you
my
came,
children, because remember,
Mhm.
we sign our children over to
Oh
the
Lord,
corporation.
we've had this discussion off camera. We've had this
We-
discussion.
We sign them over, and we have to be heroes for our children. That's going to create the generational wealth.
Right.
We got to get them out.
Right.
And once you get them out, it's the best way to get your reparation.
I mean, like I said, I'm learning a lot. But you get so focused on your craft, you get so focused on your career that you don't think outside the box like that. So for me,
Yeah.
it just things, and it could be for you too, just negative things within that career is what gets you to say, step back and say, what is going on? And then how can
Yeah.
I make this change for this shift for me versus waiting for something to change through a system, right?
Mhm.
Where you will find, where you can finally say, okay, things are good. But as long as you're in that system, it's not going to be like that.
Ever.
And you have that with music too.
Yeah. I mean,
And this is the
you got to
side they don't
apply it to
show.
everything that you do. You'll be able to have your own practice when you do this, and they can't tell you nothing.
Right.
So you got to, I say this for everybody. Become a hero to your children
Mm-hmm.
by doing this. I can't really speak like I want to speak
Mm-hmm.
because it's not, what's for you is for you.
Right.
And it's not for everybody unless they truly want to learn and they truly want their freedom.
Right.
So, yeah.
But I think you should say it though, because I think that, like, so for me, like I always tell people, now I am changing from survival mode to prosperity mode, right? Because I was taught to get a solid education, a good career, and that you'll be straight. But I think a lot of people, professional people, when COVID started in 2020 and everybody
Start
realized,
waking up.
yes, everybody. So for me, that's when I started waking up, because I'm like, wait a minute, everything could just be snatched and your whole
Right.
life just changed in an instant.
Lot you need, you got to do and prepare so that you don't have to get prepared. And
Right.
that's even with banks, and I'll share that with you all so that you understand you have to start buying gold, silver, copper.
Look at all that knowledge he dropping. Y'all just thought he could play the keyboard.
No, seriously, I stopped music to do this. When I went to Africa, I was
Mhm.
studying.
Studying all that.
Jay, I'll tell you, I was there studying. I was there. He's like, so what you doing today? I'm on this Zoom with a kingdom
Wow.
of people that understand, diverse team of people.
Mm-hmm.
And they pretty much, and I'll share with you all so that you'll understand where I'm coming from.
So how did that change your perspective once you decided to come back to music? Like, is it more tolerable because you feel more informed and you feel like I have more control of a situation?
I have more control of me,
Mm-hmm.
and I have more control of my children's destiny.
That's what it's all about.
And that's exactly what it's all about.
It's just leaving a legacy.
When I did this, I tried 20 years ago, but you go to people and they will shyster you for money.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, when I got with a family member, and he just said, listen, they took you the wrong way. You're going to have to start over. And when I did it, we're going through the phases, and this is the real education.
Okay.
The school education is not the real education.
Right.
That's the slavery education.
Right.
The real education is how you get free, not stay in slavery.
So let me ask you this, because you're learning all this, and I'm all the pearls you're dropping. Why do you? And there are tons of people. You may hear Jay-Z or different people that talk similarly. How can you put this information out, not just through these interviews, but what would you do other than trying to protect your family that can help the culture?
I'm doing it now.
Just doing, well, I know you have other talks coming up too.
It's like I'm talking to you all now. Some people will get it, some people won't.
Right.
It's almost like the Matrix. You want to stay with the red or you want to go with the blue?
With the blue. Right.
And we offer that, but we can't really be that open because it's detail. It's a lot. It's a process because they've written so many legislations to stop what we're trying to do.
Do you think that could affect your career? Do you think no? So you're not worried about that?
I'm never worried about the career because the career is not what makes me. Not today.
Because I know a lot. I mean, a lot of people
as a public figure, but
Right.
As far as life,
Mm-hmm.
this career can't take me no further than I'm going.
You've done a lot.
Yeah.
So to hear you even say you had to start over, I mean, you work with Michael Jackson.
No, start over as an education.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Not music.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm talking about education, being educated to the real life.
Right.
You know, and yeah, I'm even. Remember I talked to you about this.
Yeah.
I'm even more at. That's how I became a diplomat.
See, I didn't. I don't think I knew you became a. This was recent,
This was
right?
recent.
Oh, okay.
Last
okay.
week, and I'm going even further. It's like you're going for your masters. This is the true way to go for your masters because you've now mastered life.
Right.
No
and how
one
does your
mastered life.
spirituality play into that? Because I know
It
you're
plays in. You're always spiritual.
not everybody.
I mean, not everybody, but
right.
me.
But you are. I know
Every
that you.
day, all
I
day.
am. We are. How does that influence your music, your spirituality?
Music, like I said, is universal language. So you
True.
could do it all
Mm-hmm.
as long as you don't do anything against your spirit.
Right. So if you could drop a few pearls to the audience about music career, about life lessons, what would you want them to walk away with from today?
I would love to see them walk away with their life in their hands of freedom,
Which is priceless.
which is definitely priceless.
Right.
You can do this, and it's the education that doesn't cost you as much as you paid in college.
I agree, but I'm not supposed to say I agree. I'm not supposed to say I agree.
It's the truth. And
right.
like I said, they'll teach us everything but the secret of how to be the 1%.
Right. Because like I said, we're taught to survive, not taught to prosper. And we have to be examples for our children and
that
future generations.
Get your children out one by one, and then you'll see like the Lopez just become this crest, and like your name is now written on the wall,
right?
Because none of our names is written on the wall under this corporation,
right? So I like every year I'll come up with a couple phrases or models. Like last year was like authenticity and vulnerability for me. Those are my 2 words. This year is prosperity. Yeah, I think it's prosperity and transformation. And so that's where this shifted. So I appreciate you coming in. I know you're tired. You had rehearsal, you have the tour.
But you know me. Yeah, I've been in your house and I've stayed up till the next morning. He's like, "You still up?"
Right. Right. I'll be on my way out the door.
I have a word I want to say to everyone is and this is just from our organization, our kingdom, is if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, come together.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
And I'll say that for the gangbangers and the people who are, truly our protection.
You think that?
Who's protecting us? Think about it.
The Lord.
Yeah. But the Lord protects us, but physically, who is protecting us?
Yeah.
No one.
But I like what you said about the collaboration. That's one thing to me and I don't want to offend anybody, but I feel like that's one thing to me in our culture. That's why we can't get as far, because we do want to just go fast. Everybody just thinks about them.
Go fast for the paper, for the bag.
Go fast for the paper, not realizing that whatever your assignment is, whatever your purpose is, you fulfilling that actually helps somebody else's purpose.
That is very true.
Yeah. And so
but some people just don't understand or even notice. Like I've been in groups, I've been in many groups, and some people get it and some don't, and they'll never get it because most people are stuck in their ways. And I'm so happy that I'm a person that I can shift.
Right.
I can go to this side and make it, and I can go to this side and make it.
Right.
When you came from a place where we had nothing, we lived in the projects.
Right.
So the best survivors are those people.
Definitely. But then we have to shift from trying to survive. I mean, I realized that recently. That's why, like I said, I'm making a shift in career, not just mindset. Is I realized, dude, like I'm struggling just to survive in this corporate environment. You could be the best, right? We have to be 200% better, 200% dedicated or more dedicated rather, and you're still behind.
Yep. But I have something so incredible for all of you that will change your life. And off the camera, IRS will become your accountant.
I don't know if we should put that in.
That's what I said, off the camera.
We're not going to put that in. We got
it. This is juice for you all. It's for you all.
I know you learn a lot. And he does. He lets us know all the stuff.
That's music to study.
Yeah.
And not know stuff that they teach in the school. The stuff that we're learning is what the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and all of those people are doing.
Right.
You know, and, you know, we're just, it's like the first phase.
Like Jason calls us the 1.0 and our kids would be the 2.0 version. And we have to try to set that up for them. But I really love this conversation because people, when they see you all they can do is identify you in your artistry. Right. They don't realize who you are as a person. And even like with social media, a lot of people just put the glitz and the glam on there. And
I'm going to give you the news, what's going on, what's going to happen in the future, and where you should be moving yourself towards, because it's going to be a huge shift.
Yeah.
So
it is. It is. Well, thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. And of course, anything for my sister.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Fresh from the heights and I make it feel nice. Feeling so fly, I don't even know why. Feeling like a queen who can rap, who can sing. Just